Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the Average AF Podcast with your hosts, Adam McElroy and Stephen Hardy.
Hey guys, welcome to the Average AF Podcast. This is episode 12. I'm one of your hosts, Adam, and as always, I'm here with Steve.
Yeah.
Just like normal, we do want to start off by reminding everybody to follow and subscribe to us everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. We're at Average AF Podcast. On Twitter, we're at Average AF Pod. So make sure to follow us and, leave feedback, leave reviews, leave ratings, all that kind of stuff. But I did want to mention as well, on Apple Podcasts, we actually have 6 ratings already, and they are all 5 stars. So
5 stars.
thank you guys. That means a lot to us. We do have a couple reviews as well. Thankfully, only positive stuff so far.
Hey,
but
yeah.
Leave all feedback, constructive, all that kind of stuff. If you want to be mean, that's fine too.
We need it. I demand it. Do you understand me?
Just let us know. But yeah, keep subscribing to us everywhere. We are seeing our numbers go up a little bit each week. Total, we're at roughly about 750 plays altogether. So I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, thanks to all of you.
I know other podcasts obviously have a lot more, but we're starting from quite literally zero. So we have no fan base prior to this. You know, we're not famous people. We don't even network that much. We don't have many friends. So we're pretty unsocial butterflies, but if that's the term for it. But yeah, guys, we appreciate you, and keep letting us know how you feel, and leave voice messages, submit questions, whatever you want to do. We want to get you guys involved as much as possible. But let's get into it here. Our first topic is something that Steve wanted to talk about.
Yeah, man.
And I think it'd be good to kind of not necessarily help people, but just to give alternate perspectives on stuff.
Right. We've been trying to think of things that can help you in your more day-to-day life. We feel like that can kind of be our niche as far as when we do our podcast, talk about things that you can use to help you get through life's adversities, skills, and also we would love to soak up, any perspectives and views that our listeners may have. So today, I want to talk a little bit about nature versus nurture and its effect on kind of your self-esteem and your ability to deal with different adversities in life. What prompted me to think about this question was my own son, actually. I see a lot of things that and little conflicts I had within myself at his age. Like, it's like a mirror.
Yeah.
It's like a mirror. And there's a lot of things that he does that I definitely did. There's a lot of thoughts that he has that I definitely had. And I like to think that I'm pretty aware of that type of stuff and how that molded me, to be who I am. And with that, I'm trying to catch those things that my parents did that I thought negatively affected me and do the opposite of that. But it seems to not make a difference in some way. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe most of you probably don't know, but my kids, they don't live with me. They live with their mom. 10 minutes away, so that's close enough, but, they don't live with me. I'll get phone calls from her. Hey, you need to talk to your son. He's acting up. He's, stomping around the house, being mad, angry. And, when I get on the phone with him, and we talk about what he's upset over, whatever it is, he ends up saying stuff like, well, I don't want people, you guys are making fun of me, or, you guys are laughing at me. He's very self-conscious of, the things that happens to him. And he tends to take things like in the worst possible way. As far as, we don't really cuss at him or talk down on him, and we try to understand. But it seems like no matter how much we do that, he still takes this mindset and this stance of, you guys are attacking me, you guys are, making fun of me, this isn't funny, and things like that. So it made me wonder, like, well, what's happening? How much of that is, because like I said, I went through a lot of that same stuff growing up, but I'm trying to treat him differently than my parents treat me. But it seems to still have, a lot of that is still coming up, despite completely different behavior between what happened to me and what I'm doing to him. So, it made me think about more of, well, maybe it's just part of his DNA, personality. It's that's not much you can really do. He's going to think what he wants to think. And no matter, it's just some things that you can't control, no matter how much influence you try to put on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely a hard one. Because how old is he?
He's 9. The one
9?
I'm talking about is 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So being 9 is tough, man. I don't know. Fun fact, I've always said if I wanted to go back to a certain age, it'd be 9.
Yeah.
Because 9 is the perfect age. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's a mixture of like nature and nurture, or if it's just being 9 years old.
Yeah.
Because we're all insecure at 9 for the most part, aside from a couple, here and there. But if you think about it, like, if you really think back on your like elementary years, like there's a couple people that are confident in whatever, but most people are just doing stuff to get people to like them.
Right.
And that's just being 9 years old. You're not actively doing that, I guess, on purpose per se, but you just think that that's the right thing to do.
Right.
The purpose is to be liked at that age.
Right.
There's nothing else really going on.
Yeah.
The purpose is to have friends and have fun. I guess when things kind of interfere with that, I don't want to say, you tend to overreact, but it's like, that's your whole world, right? That's all you've got is people liking you. So if that goes away, or you're in an uncomfortable position, like as a 9-year-old, there's not really much else you can do or else you can voice. Like nothing else you can voice, because you don't know anything else. You don't know. You're not actively aware of this. I wouldn't think.
Right.
So
right.
It's hard to judge that. You just want to be, I guess, as supportive as possible, and I know you are, but
that's it's really frustrating for me, because we tell him, like, anytime he fails at something, I suck at video games. I was the same exact way. I lose one game and just think, I'm the worst person in the world, like I'm not worth nothing. And I repeatedly tell him, hey, you can get better at whatever. The key thing is to practice, though.
Right.
You will not get better unless you put the time and that work in. And I really try to reinforce that. But he's still, oh man, you know what I mean? Like, dang it. Like, I'm not, or I suck at this. And he's immediately frustrated. And he, and you look at him and he says he understands, like, yeah, I got to get practice. I got to get better. But, it crushes his world. Whereas, I had the same exact reaction. And I would say that, my parents were not as positive when it came to things like that. So, as much as I try to alter that response, because I had it too, it seems to have no effect or very little effect on that. So,
I think you're coming up on the years where it will have an effect, though.
Yeah.
I think at 9 or 10, you're, as a kid, you're starting to get to that point to where you can really trust your dad. Like, not that he doesn't, but really, like, dive into what he's saying and grasp onto it and stuff. And actually, now that I think about it, right around then, I was probably 10 or 11. My dad had always told me one sentence. I know I've mentioned it on here before, but he's always told me one thing ever since I was like 4 or 5 that I can remember, like since I was really young. But when I was 10, 11, something like that, I really hooked on to it. And it was, I have it tattooed on me, great minds don't think alike. Great minds think for themselves.
Uh-huh.
You know, as a kid, I understood the English of it, right? I understood what he meant.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until I was 10, 11, 12 maybe that I actually grasped onto it and really kind of started not necessarily living by it, but, you know, believing in that kind of thing. So I think as long as you put in the groundwork now, it's just common for a kid to have self-esteem issues. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you were the same way. I was the same way, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all just want to be liked as a kid. And I think, you know, once he gets older, that 11, 12 range, when he starts to understand that not everything is being liked, you know, there's more to it.
Yeah.
That's when you can start molding, really.
Right.
You want to put in the groundwork now, but like, he's not going to grasp onto that concept, or very few will in full perspective until they're a little older, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. So thinking further, you know, in his life and, you know, looking back on mine, I guess, I started to also think about what kind of effect, you know, nurture versus nature has on somebody's self-esteem and, you know, their ability to deal with adversity. So I guess and a question for him, it would be, do you believe, or what are your thoughts on the mixture, or is it completely black and white? Like, okay, yeah, this person's more confident and this person deals with things head on, straight up shooter, versus, you know, cowering back and, you know, using defense mechanisms and, you know, deflecting responsibility. Is that a result of the things that you went through? Is it part of just, you know, your DNA? How much of a mixture that is? Do you have an ability to
I don't know.
that?
I don't know, because have you ever taken a sociology class?
Sociology, no. Psychology, I don't think I ever took soc.
Okay. So soc is like this, basically the study of more or less people in general, like groups of people is what I think it technically is. So right now we're talking about groups of like 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, you know, so it's hard to say, I guess.
For you then, personally, being who you are, I would like to describe you as a person, you know, who can take criticism, you welcome it, you can also give it and be respectful about it. I would say you're good at prioritizing things. You know, okay, so is that a result of, I mean, are your parents that way too? Yeah. And is that because of who they are, like as far as their DNA, or is that something that they just practice over time and just happen to become good at and you soak that up?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put me in this conversation. Yeah. Because I'm different. I don't know. I just like, because for me it is very, very nature and nurture as to why I am who I am. Absolutely. It's both of them. I mean, my parents are, you know, have ran a business for like 30 years now or so. And it's just them two. And they have, I don't even know how many, but probably 10 to 15 rental properties, you know, and it's just them two. My dad fixes them all up, and my mom sells them or manages them or whatever. Yep. Takes all the phone calls basically and tells him to go fix stuff. But you have to be extremely organized for that to be the case, to, I guess, account for all that stuff. And with that, like I said, my dad from an early age always told me to be myself, and I've always made sure to think differently, more or less on purpose. Not necessarily be different, but make sure I take an alternate perspective. Yeah. Just, I guess, for my benefit. I always made fun of my dad because he was always watching History Channel or Sci-Fi or something like that. And another one of his famous quotes, I'd like walk into his room or whatever, and he'd be like, "Be careful, you might learn something." Oh, you know? Yeah. And it was just because I always made fun of him, like, "You're a nerd," like, you know, just having fun with it. But he's like, one day you're gonna want to know everything. And I'm like, no, you know what? You're a nerd. Like, let's go play football, like, or whatever. But I don't know. It's just, I'm very nature versus nurture. I guess both of them. But, like, I don't know. Because he told me to think differently. And, you know, his whole thing's the universe. And he always says before he dies, he's going to find out why we're here. You know, that's a extreme long shot. But that's kind of his goal. You know, he watches science. And he's obviously not like a scientist or anything. But I would classify him as like a kind of a philosopher on how he looks at stuff.
I would argue everybody that's dead knows. They just can't tell us.
Right. Okay. Fair. Yep. But I don't know. I've just I didn't have a normal childhood, I guess, mentally.
Yeah.
I had a very normal childhood physically. I was outside, played sports, you know, everything was good. I grew up in a good home, you know, nothing crazy in that aspect, but to kind of bring it back is like, not to get too far into details, but my dad has demons.
Yeah.
And I've noticed, growing up, I was very spiteful towards him for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, why do you do this and this? And like, we've gotten into physical arguments and altercations and kind of stuff like that. But as I grow older, I catch myself doing the same stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I've actually had this conversation before with Jess. I don't know if I've had it with you or not, but like, my dad is a great person and I love him so much, but like I said, growing up, we clashed a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I always grew up saying, I'll be a better dad than he is. Always. And now, looking back that I'm older, I understand why he did certain things.
Yeah.
And now I'm doing those certain things.
Right.
So it's hard to escape
Right.
I don't know, is that nature or is that nurture that I'm picking up on it? I guess it's both.
Yeah.
Because I'm around it.
Right.
And that's what's not physically, but that's what's happening to me.
Right.
And I've absorbed it and I've said I was going to learn from it. So I was aware of it.
Yeah.
But then, and I said I would never do that, but now I'm doing it. But I also understand why he did it.
Right.
So it's such a hard conversation because you want to get away from it, but I don't know if you ever truly can.
Mm-hmm.
I think at some point or at a certain point, it does all boil down to that. It's just how much you let it boil down to that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the hard part.
So you would argue that you're more like your dad than your mom?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Growing up until I was probably 21, 22, I would say I was exactly like my mom.
Really?
Yep. But like I said, just the perspective I had, and it just, for lack of a better term, like slowly started eating away at me.
Right.
And I just kind of flipped that more, I guess, cynical switch, more or less.
Yeah.
It's not, you know me, I'm not a very cynical person in that aspect, but it's a darker perspective on the world, I guess. And that's something that I get from my dad, whether I want it or not.
Right.
And he didn't want to give that to me either. He tried to hide that from me. He really did. He was in that aspect trying to be a good dad, but it still got through. So I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. You kind of wish you can. I mean, maybe not exactly, but go back and roll the dice again, just to see if you turn out the same way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Looking at myself though, I missed a lot of time with my parents because, I think I talked about earlier how I got in some trouble as a juvenile and I was kind of separated in those crucial years where I was trying to figure out who I was and where I fit in society and, learning how transitioning from being a boy to a man. So I don't feel 100% confident when I answer this question, but I definitely believe personality-wise, DNA, genetics, how all that influences who you are. Definitely more like my dad. He was very non-confrontational, as am I.
Right.
He had all types of friends, white, black, Chinese, Mexican, Hispanic, like my dad was just one of those people.
And
I'm kind of like that.
You only got white friends?
Damn near. Damn near, man. But that's another topic for another day. You know what? I want to talk about that. Because I literally thought one day, like, God damn. Like, literally, I'm not the people that I hang out with that are my fucking race is slim.
Yeah.
And I don't, I think it's uncomfortable for some reason. And I feel like if my mom knew that, she'd tell me like,
Why ain't
that's
you
a
got
choice.
no? Why ain't you got no black
She
friends?
would. I guarantee she would argue that's a choice.
Yeah.
You are choosing to not hang out with black people.
And all
But
fair-
no, that wouldn't be the answer at all if you asked me right now.
Right.
No, it's just I don't choose my friends based on color, but
That's that's a side topic.
yeah, man. Yeah. So, to our listeners, I kind of want to get your perspective on, leave us a voice message, send us in the comments, wherever you may be listening at, your thoughts, your perspectives, any questions on nature versus nurture, how that affects your self-esteem, your ability to deal with life in general. And from there, I want to go into some positive stress relievers
Okay.
that our listeners may use to just deal with life in general and those adversities. So my list here, I try to think of things that you may not know.
Okay. Cool.
And I want to elaborate on some of these things and how they relieve stress for me.
Well,
got a
real
list.
quick before
Yeah.
you start, I'd like you to define like positive stress relievers. Because like anything, so like in theory, going and like
okay.
taking a baseball bat to shit could be positive if you're not hurting anybody.
But
that's
Whose
aggressive.
property are you damaging though?
What if it's yours? You just go buy a
I would
fax
argue that's
machine.
not positive.
But why?
Because you shouldn't have to be destructive towards anything to deal with life.
So that's what I'm saying. Because to me, like I like to box. That's a positive. For me, it's a positive stress reliever. 'Cause I get to
Okay.
hit something, and it's not necessarily because I'm angry per
What are
se.
you boxing?
A punching bag,
Okay.
but I have a punching. Well, I used to.
I would
don't have
argue
one now.
that falls under working out more so than, because that's actually on my list.
So okay, so let me ask you this. One thing that I think would be a big stress reliever for me is going to hit baseballs, right? Just
Okay.
in an open field or at
Yeah.
just an abandoned field or wherever, anywhere that there's room. But how's that different than taking it to a fax machine?
Taking the bat to a fax machine?
Yeah. Because why do you go hit baseballs? Because you want to hit something.
Well, that's what you do. Like,
Right,
You have
right,
to tell me
right,
that.
right.
Okay. So that's why you do it? Because you'd like to hit
Yeah.
stuff?
Probably. I don't know. But I would say going to hit a baseball is a positive thing. Or it's not
Okay.
a negative thing in general.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's an interesting perspective.
That's when you laughed when I said define positive, but it's kind of a real thing.
Okay.
Because it
Okay,
I
yeah,
get
yeah,
aggressive doesn't necessarily mean negative.
Yeah, I guess it does have a negative connotation,
Right.
but it doesn't necessarily mean
Right.
destructive.
Right. We're all about
That's
opening our minds.
That's like splitting hairs almost.
I
to
know.
me.
All right, go
But
ahead.
I like
do
that's
whatever.
a perspective. That's why we do
Right,
this, man.
Right.
So
So what are yours?
probably the biggest one is video games.
Okay. Yeah, I knew
You
that.
used to do that. You don't say you just don't have the time, or is it just something you don't get into no more?
I don't know, man. Since like in the last probably 3 or 4 years, my attention span's just gone.
Really?
It's gone. This was probably 2 years ago at this point. I went and bought a PS4. Played it solid for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I remember
Just-
you telling me about the show. You loved that
Right,
fucking game.
playing MLB The Show. That's why
Yeah.
I bought the damn PlayStation 4 was for one game, basically. And I played some Call of Duty here and there and,
Yeah.
some Skate. Or no, Skate's, I think, Xbox. But, just played skateboarding games or whatever. And I played it solid for maybe a month. And then I didn't touch it for 4 months.
Ooh.
And I was like...
Yeah, it's time to go.
So I sold it.
Time to go.
And
yeah.
I've never, regretted it. It's just, I don't know, my attention span's gone. Like,
Okay.
even now, I'll get I'll want to play Skate 3,
Yeah.
what we used to play at
Yep,
Poplar all the
yep,
time.
Yep.
I love that game.
It's fun
But
to watch.
just, I would say once every 2 months, once every 3 months, I'll be like, I kind of want to play some Skate. And Jess will be like, go for it, whatever.
Yeah.
Because we're usually in the room, we're watching TV or whatever, but she's like, go for it. She's studying or whatever. I'll turn it on for max 20 minutes.
Damn, it's done.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm good. And I don't know.
Fuck,
Even
man.
like Call
Some
of
people
Duty.
just don't. Yeah.
Like, we used to play Call of Duty.
For an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time.
Well, you weren't around when we were on Wood Street.
No.
Call of Duty 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Like, you came over and it was either music videos or Call of Duty. That's what was going on. If I want you to hang out a while, we'll play some Call of Duty, we'll hang out.
Yeah.
If you're just stopping in, we're going to play some music, we're going to have a good time, you're going to leave.
Right.
It kind of depends on who you were. But I used to play video games all day long. I can't do it now. Can't do it.
Jeez, man. That's crazy. I don't think I'll ever truly completely quit. I've definitely slowed down a shit ton, and I would argue some of that is because of life, not because I'm less interested. Some of that maybe only 15-20% tops.
Yeah.
Most of it is I just don't have the time.
See, I just
don't have the time.
I'll sit at home
But
bored.
I can't see myself completely stopping. I think at 80 years old I will still have at least interest in watching
Like,
video games.
literally, I don't know how many times I've been at home bored with or without people there, Jess and Harper, whether they're there or not.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm bored, I don't think playing a video game has crossed my mind in 2 months. Wow. It doesn't even pop up. It's not even part of,
Damn.
it's not even on the list.
Damn, man.
And occasionally,
cannot relate.
right, occasionally I'll be like, let's play.
Yeah.
Even Call of Duty, where it's, 10-minute matches or whatever.
Yeah.
I'll play
Yeah.
5 of them. Maybe an hour.
Yeah. Done.
I'm good.
Done. That's about how long I play at a time, but I always go back to it the next day or later that day or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't do video games.
That's crazy, man.
I'm one of the very few people our age that can say that, really.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everybody plays them to some extent.
Like I said, I think life is the only reason. There's times I want to play, but I'm so mentally exhausted, I know it'd be a bad idea.
Right.
I just know I'd suck, and I just suck it up and cry inside and go to bed because I'm
Right.
tired. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But for me, it's just that reality escape. That's strictly what it is, man. When I throw on a game of 2K, I'm that dude for an hour or so. And then, a lot of times I'm able to jump out of my life completely, as bad as that sounds.
It's good.
What's that one movie where people were doing that?
I
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Listeners, tell me what movie I'm talking about. I can't remember. But it's where they literally jumped into another life. Almost, and then they came back to theirs.
No,
And then
I'm
they
not a
gotta-
movie guy, though, either, because of my attention span. It's a problem.
Yeah, somebody knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's just that reality escape. Sometimes I'll be having a bum out day and I'll go play some video games and I'll kick ass. That got me feeling good. And then when I
Right.
jump out of that and back into my normal life, I have this almost renewed sense of energy about what I'm going through or a different perspective, or it just gives me that, that, okay, yeah, let's,
So, I guess a lot of people would be thinking, I'm not necessarily a big proponent of this, but a lot of people would think, why don't you put your effort into something that would be productive, that could also give
That's
you that
something
feeling?
I struggled with for a long time. That's the exact question, and I've come to answer that for myself. But go ahead.
Well, that's the thing. I don't have too many hobbies, just in general. I got my motorcycle, which is a big one for me.
Okay.
But kind of like you said with life, it's just, and weather. It's obviously weather permitting. I don't ride it all that often. I don't ride it nearly as much as I want to.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's actually, the podcast has become that for me.
Okay.
Because I get to work on it, and we come over here and we record roughly an hour episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generally, I'm here for 2.5 hours, give or take, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less, just hanging out, getting things set up, talking, chilling, recording, and then we'll chill a little bit afterwards, and I'll take off, right? So for me, that's 3 hours right there.
Right.
And then editing is probably, now that I've gotten a little better at it and we've just gotten better naturally at being on the podcast, it's probably 1.5, 2 hours, putting in the intro, the outro, and, some certain effects and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then running all the social medias as well, it kind of gives me something positive and potentially productive to fill my time.
Right.
So I would, and this is just me personally, everybody's different, but I would never get that from a video game.
Yeah.
You know, I would never have it affect my personal life, or, you know, I might get like hyped up if I beat you in Madden or something, but I'm not going to walk around with a little bit more of a strut now for the rest of the day, you know? Yeah, it's just, and I don't do that obviously from editing the podcast either, but it just gives me.
I edited the shit out of this podcast.
Right. I got it done in 3 hours.
Damn.
But like,
I'm good.
It just gives me a little more, I guess, productive feeling.
Okay.
And that just translates, in my opinion, to just your natural, I guess, mood in general.
Okay.
Is that, okay, I got something done today.
Right. One more thing on that, and then I'll move on down my list. So what you said about as far as it not affecting your personal life, to me, no matter if I learn and I get good at anything, it helps me feel like, yeah, I can do whatever else.
Yeah.
And you know, it gives me that confidence. So yeah, when I'm getting my ass kicked in 2K over and over and eventually I start beating the team that beats my ass, yeah, I could take that from that video game, even though it's completely fictional, and I can take that and like, you know what, not give up on this because I got better at that.
Right. I guess that's fair.
You know,
like I said, it's just different for everybody.
Yeah, it definitely. Yeah,
like
that's
you might
why
not
we talk about it.
I know you like to like do the music and stuff and music production and all that, and I feel like that's very intricate work, or it can be.
Yep.
And I feel like if you enjoy that, you would enjoy editing the podcast. But it's very tedious, you know, taking out a 2-second clip here and you know, that background door slamming or whatever.
But it's about the
you
same.
know what I mean? Yeah. And to me, I like the little finer details of stuff. So it's just different for everybody. But I guess you can't really judge anybody for that, though, because we're all getting the same thing out of it. We're all getting, I guess, not necessarily like self-worth, but like it just keeps us going. Right. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're not hurting anybody. You know, you do it however you want to do it, whatever works for you. But for me, it's become like motorcycles and the podcast and, you know, boxing here and there and, you know, whatever it might be. And for you, it's, you know, video games and whatever else you have on your list. But like, I guess in the end, it's all the same goal. Right. You know? Yep. But what else you got? You got a couple more?
Yeah, so I got music, but when I say that, so, you know, I listen to rap. Probably 90% of the music I listen to is hip-hop music. Yeah. But that is not the music that relieves stress for me.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No. So on my Spotify, I have a list that I listen of the tracks I listen to riding around the car every single day. And I got a list of songs that when I'm in certain moods. So, you know, if I'm down one certain day or, you know, whatever, I have a list of songs that I go to and I just play those songs because I feel like just sonically they, you know, they soothe me. They
like
calm me
uplift
down.
You or
no, they just kind of
maybe.
Yeah, because music for me has a way of like a certain sound or a certain, you know, melody it's like it expresses feeling in a way. So when I hear these, it does that for me. And just hearing certain melodies and certain sounds together can kind of decompress, like from, you know, you know what I mean?
Makes sense.
And rap doesn't do that for me. I love rap. I have a passion to listen to rap, and there's, you know, songs where I'm like, yeah, but I cannot honestly say that that's more of something that I just enjoy doing more so than it being a stress reliever.
So, can you give me examples of like songs that I might know that
that are on your list? Actually, I'll put up my Spotify list right now.
Okay.
So,
you think I'll know a lot of them, or
they're popular songs. A lot of them are popular songs. Some of them you're gonna probably be like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, I'm sure.
What is it? Really?
I think I got Backstreet Boys on my phone.
Hey, okay.
You know, we rock out.
You can't knock anything on my shit. Right. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I can't judge. At one point, I downloaded a whole Taylor Swift deluxe album Because the
Wow.
girl I was trying to see, this was 5
Yup.
years ago, was into Taylor Swift.
Okay.
And we went out one time, and I was just like, oh, it happened to be on shuffle and playing only Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So I've had it all too.
Yeah. Okay. So I got Santa Gold. You know who Santa Gold is, right?
I don't think so.
Really? I wouldn't say she's not underground or anything. She's mainstream. Okay.
Well, see, but I don't listen to the radio, so like
True.
newer mainstream, I don't know.
Yeah. I got an LMFAO song on here.
Okay.
Their song La La La. A lot of people, I've actually played that out loud and gotten some of the the most disrespectful faces ever. Like, this shit is trash. What are you listening to? I'm like, it ain't trash to me, motherfucker.
Right.
Let's see. Creed, Higher.
Oh man.
Yeah, see.
We'll just move past that one.
Let's see. Days Go By, Dirty Vegas. That wasn't a commercial. That's where I first heard of that. It was like in a Mitsubishi Eclipse commercial.
I don't know. I feel like I would.
Okay. Let's see.
You're failing on this list so far for me anyway.
Yeah. I got John Mayer songs on here.
I like John Mayer.
Okay.
Can't hate on John Mayer.
I got Flyleaf songs on here.
Jess Would Love You.
Paramore.
Jess Would Love You.
Flow Rider songs on here.
Okay, yep. Getting back into my category.
I got a Jason Derulo song on here.
Which one?
What You Say.
Yep. Solid.
bit
Okay, so
of
we're
Drake.
talking like mid 2000s pop.
I got a mix of stuff on here, man. Yeah. I got Lily Allen. You know Lily Allen?
I don't think so.
I got a couple Kelly Clarkson songs on here.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. So that's the
Okay.
type of stuff, it just depends on the mood my day, but I'll go through that list and I can pick out 3 or 4 songs that'll just make me okay.
See, I guess that could be on my list too, but it's more of like a nostalgia thing for me.
Got you.
Like things that make me extremely happy are like pop punk from the early 2000s. So like I'm talking like Panic at the Disco.
Okay.
And like Fall Out Boy.
Okay.
And Newfound Glory and Blink-182.
Okay.
And just like all that really emo, dumb stuff that I used to rock out to. I love it. Sum 41, all that stuff. And then the same kind of era, like pop music just in general.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if somebody turned on some Avril Lavigne, you know what I mean?
Right,
Like, oh, it's done. I don't karaoke much, but give me the
Avril's
mic.
got some hits I can definitely jam out to.
Like just stuff like that. But I think it's more of a nostalgia thing for me. It's not. I guess it's the same aspect to some extent that you're taking. Like, it's not necessarily that I think they're the best songs, and it's not what I would listen to regularly.
Yeah.
But it definitely gives me a boost.
Yep. Once a month though, I'll play that playlist all day long.
Yep.
Yep. It's there. I gotta have it. I'll be upset if I didn't have it.
Dude, actually, do you have Pandora? Everybody has Pandora.
Yeah, I used it for so long. I literally haven't listened to Pandora in about 3 years.
So, Pandora, I'm going to give you one station that is the best Pandora station ever.
There's a lot. You sure?
Positive. And it's going to give you 2002 to 2008 pop, a little bit of R&B, a little bit of hip hop in there.
That's a pretty good era right there.
You ready? Ludacris Radio.
What?
Luda Radio is the best fucking Pandora station there is.
Oh, wow.
You gotta give it a shot.
Okay.
You gotta give it a shot, man.
Okay.
It's pure nostalgia.
Like I said, I haven't listened to Pandora in probably roughly 3 years because I played it from about 2007 till about 2014, 15, every day of my fucking life.
See, so I'm pulling up my Pandora, and this is because, like, you know me, I'm very picky with music and stuff, so if I like it, it's going to be in my Apple Music, most likely.
Yeah.
Or maybe SoundCloud if you can't get it there or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But Pandora is for everything else that I don't really necessarily need on my phone.
Right.
So these are my recent Pandora stations. Panic at the Disco.
Okay.
Dashboard Confessional.
Oh, who the fuck?
That's another pop punk band.
Oh, okay.
90s Alternative.
Okay.
Classic Rock, because I was hanging out with my dad one day. That's the only reason that one's on there.
All right.
Fall Out Boy. Smash Mouth. 3 Days Grace, Matchbox 20.
Ooh, I hated Matchbox, man. Didn't like none of their shit.
And then like it goes into ska radio. Do you know what ska is? So it's a genre. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like
SKAA or SKA?
it's just SKA. Yeah, it's like think of kind of like pop punk, but with horned instruments as well.
Oh, okay.
So there's a lot of trumpets and some saxophones, and it's just like a real jazzy pop punk type vibe.
Gotcha.
And that just always makes me happy. But then it goes into like Exhibit Radio.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty solid.
Went West Coast on their ass.
Yep. Immortal Technique Radio.
All right.
Nelly Radio.
Okay.
He's
got some shit on his, I'm sure.
Right. And it just goes on. Oh, here's Jay-Z for you.
Oh.
Jay-Z Radio. But I mean, it Taking Back Sunday. It goes on, and those Pandora is strictly for my nostalgia.
Okay.
So strictly, but music is huge for me. I mean, if it's not that, it is hip hop, but it's very, I guess, when I need some type of positive, I guess, reinforcement to some extent, it's a very storytelling hip hop is what I usually go with. And like, do you remember, we might have been living together at this time when we were on Stadium, and I was walking to Motomart, and it was winter, and it was that winter that was like negative 10 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's not a far walk.
But
it's under a half mile, I'd say.
Yeah.
It takes 10, 15 minutes.
Probably close to a quarter.
Yeah. So 10, 15 minutes maybe, if that, to get there.
Yeah.
So it's not long.
In
but
the winter, probably, close to 15.
Yeah, when it's negative 10 out, it fucking sucks.
Yes.
So I was really grumpy every morning, right? Had to go out and walk in that. And could have been way worse. I'm not necessarily complaining, but like one song that I listened to was Eminem's Rock Bottom.
Okay.
That was a big one for me because that's not necessarily where I felt, but like kind of.
Yeah.
And it kind of also gives me the perspective that it could be worse.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of both.
I see.
Even though that's kind of a sad and depressing and kind of angry song, it gave me perspective. So it's not necessarily a positive song in and of itself, but it's a positive outcome. For me, it's very lyrical hip hop or some type of nostalgia. And then, I mean, I don't really actively like meditate or anything like that, but I just feel like I can put myself into some sort of like meditation.
Yeah.
Like not an actual meditation, but I can kind of calm myself down enough and put myself into a state where everything's okay. And I can do that with headphones in and it being hip hop. I can just zone out and just kind of let everything happen around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that regularly. That's what a lot of people don't get about like alone time. It's not necessarily that I want to be away or anything like that, but it's just nice to be able to kind of let the world keep doing its thing and you just kind of sit still for a minute and just kind of let it all go.
Definitely understand
so
that, sir.
I wouldn't ever say that I meditate, but I try to, I guess, have that type of mindset, I guess, would be the best way to put it.
Yep, that's actually on my list, meditation. I was going to ask you if you ever done it before.
Not actual meditation. I think it'd be cool, but...
Yeah, I spent time in a group home type thing where there was a guy, I remember his name. His name was Larry. He was big on yoga, big on meditation. He swore it worked. It would work for everybody. He used to get us all together and make us do like these breathing exercises and, you know, he say these phrases, make us say them, you know, to ourselves, if not out loud. And, you know, at first I'm like, the fuck? No, dude.
Right.
But when I actually gave it some true, like, put some effort into it and actually slowed my breathing, it's hard to describe, really. You get this, you really do feel like something's being lifted off of you if you do it. Like, it's the weirdest thing to explain.
And, like, I mean, in the 5 or 6 years that we've hung out. You know, we've been pretty close, obviously, the whole time,
Yep.
or for the most part. I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think one word to describe me is calm.
Oh yeah.
I'm just always calm.
Yes.
But it's because of that. Like, once again, I'm not actively meditating or anything like that, but just I've kind of programmed myself to always remain calm. Like, I don't stress. I don't believe in stress.
Yes,
don't-
man.
You know, everybody stresses about little things. I'm not saying I'd never stress, but it's just, stress to me is the dumbest thing of all time.
Yeah, I can't. Sitting thinking about it, I don't think I've ever seen a time where I've seen you visibly on your face, like, oh yeah, Adam's stressed out about something.
Right.
Like, it's never. No.
It's and it's not because shit doesn't happen. Like, I mean,
Right.
once again, since we've known each other, some shit's went down,
Right.
and I haven't been in the best, points and
Right.
stuff like that. But
Right.
at the end of the day, I always try to stay calm, no matter what, because, like I said, I don't like stress. I don't think there's a purpose to it. I don't think there's a need for it. Like, I guess it's cool to get like your frustrations out
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. I guess stressing could kind of take some of that energy towards that, but I would just rather stay calm. I don't stress about little things. I don't stress about a bill being late or anything like that. I don't know if, I think this was before you were living with me on Stadium. They shut off my heat in the winter. Do you remember that?
Damn. No.
They shut off the heat in the winter.
No, I do not remember that, sir.
Never stressed about it. It sucked.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it didn't suck. I'll pay it. It's just I can't right now.
Right.
I might sell something, or whatever to get that money to get the heat back on. But
right. Yeah.
yeah, there was a good probably week and a half that I didn't have heat in winter.
Jesus.
And you can ask Jerry. I went over there to his house every day to shower.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because, well, I don't, it's just, it was a bad time,
Right.
and, whatever, but I never stressed because it wouldn't have helped the situation. It would have only made the situation worse. Because other than like a little bit of like energy release, what is the purpose of stress? What is the benefit of stress?
When you're outside of it, yeah.
There's none.
No.
I've asked a lot of people that. What is the one benefit of stress?
Yeah. There's you ever heard of the term eustress?
I don't think so.
It's a productive level of stress.
Okay.
Where it's pretty much
natural stress.
It's
Yeah.
pretty much uncomfortability.
Right.
It's being uncomfortable with where you are, or going through enough to take action. Beyond that, though, yeah, there is no real
Yeah.
benefit to
I mean,
stress.
that's obviously good to try to better yourself in whatever
Yeah,
way
yeah.
you need to, but
yeah.
I've struggled with this from like a young age, like, and I guess it's the opposite of struggle, but like I've never stressed about anything. I don't know. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Like, and I guess it's because I've always had that perspective of it could be worse.
Mhm.
I'm not sleeping outside. I've slept in my car a little bit here and there, like didn't necessarily have a place to go or whatever, but like I'm not outside,
Right.
right? There's always a level worse than what you're at.
Uh-huh.
And I've always been very good at keeping that perspective.
Uh-huh.
So like literally, you might have heard me say this a long time ago. Like people would ask, like, how you doing today or whatever, and I'd just be like, I ate today.
Yeah.
Do you ever remember me saying that?
Yeah.
It's like, I got to eat today.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I got to eat today. I got a roof. I got a bed. What else can you really ask for? Like at that point, it's just taking those things to the next step, right?
Mhm.
I ate some bologna today. I'm good till tomorrow, And it's because actually, I'm sure we've talked about this or this has came up, just me and you not on the podcast, but like there was a certain point, this was in 2010 or 11 when I was in college. I was working at Subway, and me and my roommate were both working at Subway,
Uh-huh.
and we were getting 35, 40 hours, consistently, both of us. Everything's cool. And then the manager just slowly started cutting back both of our hours. And we're like, we live together.
Right.
And at a certain point, she scheduled us combined for 12 hours.
Oh my God.
And we were like,
what the fuck?
right, like, what are you doing? Like, we have bills,
Yeah.
We were great workers. It's not like we were getting in trouble or anything like
Yeah.
that. And so at a certain point, I took a lot of subs home from work that I shouldn't have, but I was
Yeah.
hungry.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, I had a 5-pack of ramen because I had $1 and like some pennies to pay for the tax. I had a 5-pack of ramen to last me 7 days.
Oh my gosh.
I did it, it sucked, but I did it, So that's where the phrase "I ate today" came from, is because there was times as an adult where I didn't eat that day. And it's definitely humbled me, and not that I wasn't humble before, but it's just I've never understood the idea of stress, I guess, because I got to eat today. And a lot of people...
That tattoo on the inside of your arm says a lot about that. You could just read that and just know exactly what you mean by that.
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
For those of you who obviously can't see.
Well, you can see this.
My forearm has a tattoo. It's actually Mac Miller's slogan from, once again, 2009, 2010, something like that he said a couple times, but it was "My thumbs stay up." And that's, a lot of people laugh at that and that's fine, but yeah, it's thumbs up. Like, no matter what, my thumbs stay up. That was my second ever tattoo. My first one was a dumbass one that I just got because I wanted to. But that was the first ever meaningful tattoo I got. And yeah, I think it kind of describes me pretty well.
Yep.
Like, my thumbs stay up. It's just, no matter what, I might be in a bad mood or whatever, but I'm generally a positive guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't believe in stress. I don't like it, and you shouldn't either. Think about it though. I could honestly go on this topic forever. When you're stressed out, what does it benefit? Nothing.
No.
So take that same knowledge that's going on, whatever you're thinking, oh, I got to get this done, and I got to do this before this, and blah blah blah. That's great, and I have those same thoughts, but do it in a calm way. There's no reason to, even if it's something you have to do quickly, you can do it better when you're calm than you're freaking out and shaking and trying to.
That's real shit, dude. But why do we do it though? Is it just
not we,
nature?
you? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no, I don't.
Yeah.
And that's what I always tell people. I'm kind of different in that aspect because I don't, I guess, submit to those certain urges.
Yeah.
I do want to mention one thing since we're talking about stress that, once again, I'm sure you've heard me say, but just for everybody else, my favorite thing that I ever learned in psychology was actually on day one of my first ever psych class. Day one. Within the first 20 minutes of my first ever psych class. And I've taken 9. So he said, obviously I don't remember exactly what he said, but, the stress level that we get, I brought up a bill not getting paid, or, dishes being in the sink, or family coming over and you got to clean up real quick, and, whatever. You overslept and you're trying to get to work before you're late. That kind of level of stress is only matched in the wild when they're running for their lives.
Holy shit.
So we have the stress level of somebody trying to kill us when we're trying to not be 3 minutes late for work.
Right.
Who cares about that 3 minutes? Yeah.
Right.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have a late fee. Who cares? It's not ideal. I'm not saying it's ideal, but pay the extra $20 and move on with your life.
Right.
You're stressing for, you said, a couple days late on a bill, so you're stressing for 72 hours till you can pay it, and you cough up that extra $20 and now you feel better.
Right.
So that extra $20 just costs you 72 hours of essentially happiness to some extent.
Right. Yeah.
Why?
Peace. Yeah.
Why? That's, an hour or two at people's jobs. Like, that's 2 hours that you worked to whatever to get that off your mind. And I don't understand stressing over things like that. I guess trivial things.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's big things you want to stress about, but I've just never, ever been bothered by not being able to get a parking spot, and now I got to walk 10 more feet. Who gives a shit? And it's hard. It's always been hard for me to give advice to people. And I actually originally wanted to be a counselor. That's why.
Oh, damn.
But before I realized why I'm fucked up, I wanted to be a counselor. But yeah, I realized that, like, when people give me issues or they voice their issues or whatever about what's going on, my reaction is, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Fix it. I've realized that I'm not very good with complainers. And not that needing a counselor is complaining to any extent, but it can be depending on how you come across, on how your tone. So, like, people will say, oh, well, I hate my job, blah, 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 it sucks. Get a new one. I don't give a fuck. Get a new one. Like, if you're that miserable, get a new one.
Yeah, take responsibility for it. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I've been here 4 years. You're in the same position.
Yeah.
Get a new one.
Right.
Start over. Who cares? Like, I don't know. I've never been bothered by that stuff. And that's why I was saying earlier when you asked me about the nature versus nurture thing, like, it's hard for me to put myself in that situation.
Yeah.
Because I've always had, not necessarily this mindset, but this to some extent. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care about the bill being 3 days late. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, in the end, it doesn't matter. It's $20 extra.
Right.
Who cares? I'm going to enjoy myself, throw you your extra 20, and then I'm going to keep enjoying myself.
Right.
It's just, I don't know. I hate stress, is my point.
Okay, so from that, I got a few more things on my list we'll mention, and then we'll end the podcast.
I totally forgot there was a list thing going on.
Yeah, it's all good. That's why we do this, though, to get perspectives and different,
I like naturally talking, rather than...
Right.
Obviously, we try to have some sort of outline for the show, what we want to talk about, but, like, I would rather, and we'll get there at some point, but just be able to have conversations and just talk for an hour.
Right.
It's kind of hard for us right now to just talk for an hour.
Right.
But I think we're getting a lot better at it since I just ranted for, like, fucking 20 minutes or whatever the hell that was.
All right, so moving down my list, a lot of them we kind of touched on. I got playing piano. That's on there. Yep. Something about the sonically is soothing. Mm-hmm. That's kind of half the reason I wanted to learn how to play it. I don't expect to get on Beethoven's level at all. Nah, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm coming for your head. But no. At the end of the day, it's definitely just being able to do that is a stress reliever for me. Believe it or not, hanging out with my kids, man.
Yeah,
like
I wanted to say that, but that's kind of obvious.
Yeah, that's definitely one that I've been using a lot.
Since I have the cutest kid in the world, so yeah, I'm sorry. It's just ranked number one, son.
Yeah, something about hanging out with them. For a while, I get to take part in that innocence and that simplicity that they have about life.
Yep.
You realize that, dude, don't shit matter to them. Right. And you can just partake in that for a second.
That's what I'm saying. I took my 5-year-old self to now 27. Like, I don't give a shit if there's poop in my diaper. I don't care. I'm going to keep playing.
Right. So, yeah, I'll use that a lot. Just getting out of the city, man. I haven't really so much this year. But last year and year before, I took a lot of trips to Columbus just to change my surroundings for a day or even a half day.
When we went to Chicago for like 36 hours, that was just super dope.
Dude, yeah. And you come back and that completely rejuvenate you.
Yep.
For a while. Just doing that. It's amazing what that can do for you. And we kind of touched on working out. Yeah, that's obviously one for me when I'm going through things. I just, just that I try to channel that now into my workouts. And, at the end of the day, if you don't feel better, you're tired as fuck. You don't have the energy to be mad no more. You don't have the energy to be frustrated no more. That workout just kicked your fucking ass. So shut up. Pick yourself up. Go about your life.
Any other ones you got?
That's it, sir.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I mean, like I said, music just in general, almost any type of music just makes me happy, aside from like country. But I could even fuck with some country. So
no, that's one that I can't even give more than 10 minutes.
Well, see, I grew up in Belleville for 7 years, surrounded by country and trucks and mud and stuff, and it was fun. And like I got into country for like a year or two, and eventually branched off. So I can fuck with a little bit of country, but music in general, motorcycles. I like hiking. I don't really go that often.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I like hiking and just kind of walking and seeing stuff. I guess, like you said, getting out and doing stuff. And then, I don't know, just fun in general. I just like to go do stuff because I'm what Tommy says is stoop kid from Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
And that's me a lot of the time. I stay inside, but I don't want to stay inside.
Yeah.
I want to go out and I want to go have fun, and I don't want to go to the bars or anything, but I just want to go enjoy nature or life or whatever. But one little fun fact here before we end too on the sense of fun. One thing that's always kind of kept me in that mood is, always having fun and trying to make jokes and all that kind of stuff is like when I was like, it was an epiphany I had when I was like 14 or 15. Like every, I guess, multicellular animal or whatever you want to call it, even bugs or birds or mammals or whatever, all of them make a point to have fun. All of them. Even insects will like kind of play fight and go, they're having fun.
Right.
So everything, even like the most vicious stuff, crocodiles, bears, lions, tigers, all that kind of stuff, they make a point to have fun. Chimps, gorillas, have fun.
Gangsters, they all have fun too.
Gangsters have some fun, right?
Right.
So I don't know, I've always thought like there has to be something to that, to where every species, every kind of somewhat conscious species has fun. So I've always kind of made a point to, at least I always say I just try to entertain myself. I don't care if you're entertained or they're entertained or they judge me. I don't care. I'm having fun.
Right.
That's all I care about.
Right.
But yeah, just fun in general. But yeah, I mean, I think that was a fun episode. I think.
Yeah, you know what I just remembered? We did not answer our listener question.
Oh man!
About universal truths. But hey, listen, whoever you are,
Jordan.
My
you
apologies.
Met him.
Oh yeah,
that's Jordan. Yeah,
Jordan. My apologies. We will get you on the next time, or maybe not, because I have a special guest next week.
You can run it by him, see what he says.
Okay. Yeah. We can touch on it. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get it. We'll get to it.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, and
it's a good question. It's definitely something that I want to actually put some thought into, rather than just kind of ramble off BS and half-ass it. So, Jordan, if you're listening, it's coming, man.
Yeah,
it's coming.
Yeah, I just want to let you know we didn't forget about you.
It's such a good question that we want to do it right. So, kind of be patient.
Yeah. Once again, any feedback, comments, questions, concerns about what we talked about today, perspectives, that's what I'm looking for. Give me a different way of looking at something, a different way of dealing with something that, I might face down the road. So, and I hope we were able to help you guys in a way too.
Yep, absolutely. And just make sure to, as always, like, follow, subscribe everywhere. On Apple Music or Apple Podcasts is the main one. Rate and review, those help us get listeners in the future. So follow us everywhere at Average AF Podcast, on Twitter at Average AF Pod. But we do appreciate everybody listening, and have a good night.
And we out as usual.
Yeah.